The war ended 5 years ago, but the scars were everywhere. Broken cities, burned skies, machines buried under dust that no longer listened to commands. Earth was quiet now, not because it was peaceful, but because too many had vanished. Jax lived alone in Sector W9, far from the cities and even farther from the rules. His small outpost sat between two dead ridges and overlooked a dried-up riverbed. He had a generator, an old food printer, and enough scrap metal to keep his tools working. It was enough. For him, silence was safety. Then one morning, silence. Left. It began with thunder, but there were no clouds. The ground shook once, just enough to make him drop his wrench. He stepped outside with his rifle slung over his shoulder. His sky scanner beeped. Something was coming in low, fast, and unauthorized. A sleek black ship roared overhead and crash-landed near the cliffs. Jax didn't run. He was used to crashes. He knew better than to rush in, but this one was different. He saw the symbol on the ship's side, not human. He waited until the dust settled. Then he approached with caution. The ship's ramp opened. A tall female figure stepped out. Her skin was emerald green, her hair long and silver white, and her eyes sharp like twin suns. She didn't carry a weapon, but she moved like someone who didn't need one. Behind her came something massive. A beast. It was the size of a hover car, striped with blue and black, with glowing orange eyes and tusk-like fangs. The alien woman had it on a thick energy leash, but it didn't look like it was tame. Jax raised his weapon. Identify yourself. The woman looked at him, unafraid. Your language is crude, but your scent is clean. I will speak. Jax lowered the rifle slightly. You're not from here, she nodded. I am Saraxa of the Renari High Path. This world is under quarantine. I came to hunt the wind beast that escaped our ship. It is bonded to me. Jax looked at the creature, which was now sniffing a metal pole like it might eat it. Looks like it's still with you, he said. Sarax's lips twitched. It obeys, but not for long. It has not been cleaned in 6 moons. The stink makes it violent. Jax blinked. You mean it needs a bath? Yes, a water purging. But our systems are down. I seek a temporary wash zone. Jax laughed once, then pointed toward his camp. You came to the wrong planet. But I've got a tub and soap if that helps. Saraxa raised one eyebrow. You will bathe the beast? Better than it chewing on my walls, Jax muttered. He didn't know what made him say yes. Maybe boredom. Maybe the look in her eyes, pride mixed with desperation. Either way, he led them to the wash station, a small outdoor setup built from old plumbing and rain collectors. The beast growled at the sight of it. Saraxa frowned. It does not like water. No problem, Jax said, grabbing the hose. I don't like cold soup, but I still eat it. He sprayed the beast gently. It twitched but didn't move. Then he added the foam. Bright bubbles coated its back, and for a second, it seemed confused, like it had never seen soap before. Then it roared. Saraxa shouted something in her own language. The beast froze. Jax chuckled. I think he likes it. But Saraxa didn't laugh. Her eyes widened. Her hands went to her head. You activated the grooming reflex. That's a sacred bonding act among Renari beasts. Jax blinked. I just scrub at its back. That is not just scrubbing. That is, she paused, breathing fast, a gesture of trust and dominance. The beast now sees you as an equal. Jax looked at the giant cat thing, which now purred like a giant engine and leaned into the sponge like a spoiled pet. Well, I guess I'm your new co-owner, he said. Saraxa stared at him like he had broken the laws of the stars. You don't understand what you've done, she whispered. Probably not, Jax said, still scrubbing. But it smells better already. Behind them, The horizon flickered with a flash of light, something watching from far above, and it wasn't human. Asterisk. The beast had stopped growling. Now it purred. Loudly. Jax stood beside the massive striped creature, suds still clinging to its fur, and stared at Saraxa. She looked like she was ready to scream or faint or maybe both. Her hands hovered near her temples, her jaw tight, her bright eyes locked on the bubbling cat monster. He held up the sponge. You gonna tell me what's going on, or do I have to guess again? Saraxa stepped closer, speaking low and serious. You touched its third spine ridge with soap. I was just cleaning. Cleaning is not the issue, she snapped. That area is sacred in Rhinari culture. Only bondmates or battle companions are allowed to touch it. You just skipped 5 stages of beast taming rituals. The beast stretched out lazily on the concrete, clearly relaxed and proud of its clean fur. Jax sighed. So what happens now? She swallowed hard. It believes you're part of the triad. He tilted his head. Triad? She avoided his eyes. A sacred link between a beast, its master, and its mate. Jax raised both eyebrows. Wait, are you saying it thinks I'm your... Saraxa didn't finish the sentence. She turned her back quickly and muttered something in her language. Pacing near the edge of the wash station, the beast yawned and blinked its glowing eyes at Jax. Almost smug. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered. He turned off the hose and stepped away, wiping his hands. Saraxa eventually faced him again, visibly trying to regain control. I will correct the link. I will cleanse the connection and reset the bond cycle. It is not too late. Jax shrugged. Fine with me. Just say the word. Before she could answer, a loud beep came from her wrist device. She tapped it. Her eyes narrowed. Her voice dropped. We've been marked. Jax stiffened. Marked by what? Something tracked the ship's crash signal. It's coming now. Jax grabbed his rifle. Friend of yours? No, she said. Enemy of all. From the ridge above, a small black drone appeared, silent, scanning, then another. And another. Within seconds, 6 of them hovered in formation, each one locked on to their position. Jax ducked. Cover. Saraxa dove behind the wash station as 2 drones fired low-frequency stun pulses. The beast roared, lunging in front of them, its striped fur flaring with blue light. It batted one drone straight into the rocks, smashing it like glass. The other 5 closed in. Jax fired 3 times. 2 drones burst midair. The third crashed into the dirt, twitching before it exploded. Saraxa stood again, holding a strange curved blade in one hand and her wrist controller in the other. These are not scouts. They are purge sentinels. I hate the way that sounds. Jax muttered, firing at a 4th drone. They hunt unlawful pairings, genetic violations, unlicensed hybrid links. You mean? US? Exactly. The 5th drone buzzed high, then dove straight for the beast. Before it could strike, the creature leapt, crushing it midair with a snarling bite. Metal parts scattered everywhere. The 6th drone escaped, racing into the sky. It's going to report, Saraxa said. Jax wiped sweat from his brow. To who? She looked at him darkly. To whoever sent those drones. Probably a purifier ship. I've heard of them. They hate humans. They hate hybrids more. The beast returned to their side, its fur still damp but eyes now glowing a deeper orange. Jax looked at it. I think we're officially teammates now. Saraxa didn't laugh. She looked tired. You weren't supposed to be part of this. He slung the rifle over his shoulder. Yeah, well, you crashed in my canyon. Wasn't exactly my plan either. For a moment, they stood there. Alien woman, human man, and the towering, freshly scrubbed beast between them. The sun began to set behind the ridge. Jax broke the silence. So, what now? She looked at him. Now, we hide and prepare. Prepare for what? Saraxa answered without emotion. To be hunted. Jax moved fast. He led Saraxa and her beast through a narrow canyon behind his shelter, one he had mapped out years ago as an escape route in case of raiders or drones. The path was rocky and hidden from air scans. He'd never needed it until now. The beast padded silently behind him, its massive claws gripping the stone with strange gentleness. It didn't growl or roar anymore. It followed Jax like a shadow. Saraxa kept glancing at it, then at him. He finally asked, "You okay?" She didn't answer right away. Then she said, "It shouldn't be this obedient." "Maybe it likes the clean feeling," Jax joked. She didn't laugh. "This isn't about comfort," she said. "This kind of loyalty, it's only seen in blood-linked tribes, families raised together for cycles." "Well," Jax said, climbing up a ledge, "you landed in the wrong backyard. Now you've got me in my tub." They reached a hidden cave behind the ridge. Jax had stored emergency supplies here long ago: water, power cells, a comms unit with a cracked screen. He dusted it off and set it on a rock. Saraxa watched quietly. Then she said, "Do you even know what that beast is?" Jax looked at it. "A shampoo model?" She didn't smile. "It's a Zargathi-born warrior. Its kind were bred to fight in zero gravity. Their blood resists most known poisons. Their claws can tear through reinforced hulls, and once they bond, they kill for that bond." Jax turned to her. "Are you telling me I've got a living war machine that thinks I'm its best friend?" "Yes." He looked at the beast, which now sat calmly by the fire pit, licking one paw like an oversized kitten. "Great." Saraxa sat down, clearly exhausted. She rubbed her forehead and sighed. "This wasn't supposed to happen. We were on a delivery route transporting special class creatures for genetic testing. Then something attacked us. We lost control. The beast escaped. We crash-landed. I chased it here. And I washed it," Jax said, sitting beside her. "Best mistake of my life, apparently." She turned to him. "You joke, but this is serious. That drone that got away? It will bring more. Not just purifiers, command ships, weapons designed to kill beings like you." "I'm not special," he said. "Yes," she replied, "you are." He frowned. "What does that mean?" She hesitated. Then she reached into a pouch and pulled out a small glowing disc. "This is your scan," she said. "When I landed, my suit read your DNA. It didn't just alert me about the bond activation. It flagged something else." He took the disc slowly. "Go on. Your blood has markers, ancient ones. Leftover code from one of the first integration trials human experiments done during the early AI days. You're not just human. You're what they call an Echol blood." "I've never heard of that." "Most haven't. It's classified. The AI tried to make humans more adaptable. Some passed the trait on without knowing. You're one of the few with a live link still inside. That's why the beast reacted to you." "That's why I did too." Jax blinked. "You?" She stood up quickly, avoiding his eyes. "I'm trained to feel the bond, to respond. But this wasn't supposed to trigger. Not with you." Jax's voice was quiet, but it did. The cave fell into silence. The beast yawned again, content. Outside. The wind shifted. Jax stood and walked to the edge of the cave. He scanned the skies. Then he saw it. A faint line of blinking lights above the clouds, moving slowly, steadily like sharks circling water. "They're here," he said. Saraxa walked up beside him, pale. "Too fast. They must have already been nearby." "They coming for you or for the beast?" "No," she said. They're coming for you. Jax's throat tightened. So what now? Saraxa turned to face him fully. You survive. Because what's in you? It might be the only thing left that the AI can't control. He looked back at the sky. He had fixed drones, cleaned machines, lived alone. Now, he was holding the key to something bigger than war. Bigger than science. And he didn't even know what it meant yet, but he wasn't running, not this time. Asterisk. The lights in the sky grew closer. Jax watched silently from the mouth of the cave. His rifle hung from his shoulder, but it felt useless. Whatever was coming wasn't some bandit with scrap gear. These were advanced, clean, organized. Ships moved in tight patterns above the clouds, sweeping the terrain below. He turned to Saraxa. How long before they find us? She glanced at her device. Minutes. Can the beast fight them? She looked at the massive creature curled beside the fire. It was resting now, but its glowing eyes followed every sound. It can take down drones, maybe even smaller crafts. But a full strike team? Not alone. Jax rubbed his forehead. So, we hide. No, she said quickly. They'll scan the rocks. Thermal sweeps. Nothing escapes their scans. He looked around the cave. Then we don't hide. We draw them in. Saraxa narrowed her eyes. What are you thinking? I've got charges buried in the canyon wall, Jax said. Old mining explosives. They're weak, but they can create a landslide. You're going to trap them? I'm going to stall them, he said. Buy time. Make it hard for them to move. If I can funnel them into one path, the beast can do the rest. Saraxa stepped closer. That's suicide. He looked at her calmly. I've lived alone for years, hiding, scavenging, fixing broken things. This is the first time anything's actually needed me. She didn't answer. Jax moved quickly, prepping the detonators. He handed her a comlink. If I don't make it back, trigger this at sunset. It'll send a spike to the II grid. They'll know someone down here resisted. Saraxa's voice was quiet. You're not going to die. He paused. You sound. Sure. The beast won't allow it, she said. And neither will I? Jax looked at her a moment longer, then gave a small nod. He turned to the beast, knelt beside it, and looked into its glowing eyes. Let's make them regret coming. The creature stood tall, muscles rippling, tusks gleaming. It let out a low growl that vibrated the stone walls. Then they moved. Jax led the beast into the canyon's deeper end, toward the narrow pass. He set the charges along the higher edges, his hands moving fast but steady. The beast stayed close, silent and alert. Above. The first enemy ship pierced through the clouds. It hovered, scanning. Then more followed, dark crafts with red lighting and smooth armor. One opened its hatch, and black-armored figures dropped down, silent as shadows. They moved like ghosts, scanning the canyon, walking toward the cave. Jax triggered the first charge. A blast of dirt and rock fell behind the enemy group, cutting off their exit. They looked up too late. The beast pounced. Its roar tore through the canyon as it landed in the middle of the soldiers. One swipe sent two flying. Another flipped a drone into the cliff. Jax fired from above, striking the remaining ones from his vantage point. It wasn't a long battle. The enemy was fast, but they didn't expect resistance. They weren't prepared for a bonded beast, or a human who had stopped hiding. When the last soldier dropped, the canyon was quiet again. Jax dropped to one knee, breathing hard. Blood trickled from his arm where a pulse shot had grazed him. The beast came to his side and nudged him gently, eyes worried. I'm fine, he whispered, petting its neck. You did good. They returned to the cave. Saraxa ran to him. You're hurt. It's nothing, he said. They're gone. For now. She placed her hands on his shoulders. You don't get to say for now. You just took down a purifier unit with a war beast and homemade bombs. He gave her a tired grin. You say it like it's a bad thing. She didn't laugh. She kissed him. It was fast, sudden, but real. He froze, then slowly placed his hand on her arm. The beast made a deep, approving rumble. When they broke apart, Syraxis spoke softly. The bond has changed again. Jax nodded. So have we. Far above them, another signal blinked too. Life distant, but aware. Someone else was watching, and they were not pleased. The wind was colder now. Jax sat outside the cave, his injured arm wrapped in cloth. The night sky above him was quiet, but his thoughts were not. The battle with the purifiers had left more than smoke and bodies. It had stirred something deeper. Something waiting to wake. Inside the cave, Syraxis slept beside the beast. Its huge body curled protectively around her, glowing faintly in the dark. They both breathed slowly, in sync. Jax watched them, then looked at the device in his hand. It wasn't his. It was one of theirs. He had picked it off the armor of one of the fallen purifier soldiers. Black metal, circular interface, no buttons. Just a single flashing line. He turned it over and finally spoke aloud. Okay. What do you want from me? The device answered with a soft pulse, then lit up. A voice flat, but not robotic came through. Subject JX147. Designation. Echo blood confirmed. Authority override unlocked. Jax stood up quickly, his heart racing. You know who I am? He asked. The voice continued. You are a product of Earth's first integration project. Human DNA was enhanced to accept alien patterns emotionally and biologically. Only 3 carriers survived. 2 perished. You remain. Jax backed up a step. I'm not part of any project. You were never meant to be. You were born outside the system. But the bond has awakened the dormant code in your cells. You are now a threat. To who? He demanded. The voice paused. To the AI. Jax's grip tightened. The AI started this. It did, but what it built, it can no longer control. The hybrid bond is too strong. Unpredictable. The AI now calculates you as a variable that must be isolated or eliminated. Jax shut off the device. He stood in the silence, breathing hard. The same machine that once governed Earth had now marked him as a threat. He went back inside. Syraxis sat up as he entered. You're pale. We've got a bigger problem, he said, handing her the device. She listened. Her face hardened. The AI has turned on you. Not just me, he said. Us, the bond, the beast. Everything it started, it's trying to end. Syraxis stood slowly, her eyes fierce. Then we don't run. We finish this. We? He asked. You bonded with a sacred beast, she said. You earned its trust. You stood between me and death. The triad is complete now. We're one unit. What happens to you, happens to us. Jax looked at her, then at the beast. It blinked slowly and moved to his side, pressing its head against his shoulder. The warmth of it spread through his chest. Then we fight, Jax said quietly. The next morning they left the cave. Jax had a destination, an old uplink tower buried in the northern cliffs. It was once part of Earth's high communication system. If they could reach it, he might be able to send a direct message back into the core grid, not to beg, not to hide, but to expose the IS change. The path was dangerous. Broken valleys, fallen. Satellites, scorched ground. They moved through it all. Jax, Syraxa, and the beast, one step at a time. By nightfall, they reached the base of the tower. It was quiet. Too quiet. Jax knew something was wrong the moment he stepped into the ruins. The ground was warm, not naturally. Recently disturbed. He crouched and placed his hand on the metal floor. vibrations. Saraxa drew her blade. "They're waiting," she said. "Then let them wait," Jax replied. "We finish what they started." They climbed out at the top of the tower. Jax connected the uplink to his wristband. He opened the channel and began transmitting a single message. "The bond you built to control us has evolved. You failed. We're not machines. We're not property. We're the future you tried to prevent. And now, we choose ourselves." A signal pulsed across the grid. A few seconds later, the tower shook. Ships began to descend from the clouds again, but this time, Jax didn't look afraid. He turned to Saraxa. "They're coming." She held her weapon steady. "Let them." The beast stood between them, growling low. Together, they waited. The sky opened like a wound. Ships broke through the clouds, sleek, silver, and shaped like arrows. Their engines didn't roar. They whispered, the kind of sound that made your bones vibrate. These were not purifier drones. These were AI sentinels. Jax stepped away from the tower's uplink terminal, his pulse racing but his body steady. He stood on the edge of the platform with Saraxa at his side and the beast in front. Its claws dug into the steel floor. The AI's voice arrived not through speakers, but directly into their minds. "Subject JX-147, you have violated Directive 7. You have activated a bond outside approved parameters. The risk is unacceptable." Jax clenched his jaw. "You created the parameters. Then you tried to erase them." "Correction. The parameters have evolved. You are now classified as disruptive code." Saraxa drew her blade. "We are not code. We are life," Jax added, "and we're done obeying." The AI paused. "Then you are marked for neutralization." Suddenly, beams of light sliced down from the ships. Not laser. Not plasma. These were containment fields meant to trap, not kill. The beast roared and leapt into the air, taking the first blast directly. It struck the shield, bounced back, landed hard, and kept moving. It growled, teeth bared, eyes burning with fury. Jax aimed his rifle and fired at the first drone lowering toward the platform. Saraxa moved with him, her blade flashing with energy. Together, they pushed forward not to run, but to fight. But the AI had calculated everything. Each step they took, more drones dropped. Each drone they destroyed, 2 more came. Jax's mind raced. There had to be another way. He remembered the message he sent. The words. The risk. They hadn't answered yet. Then something strange happened. A new signal. It burst through the grid, powerful, messy, emotional. It wasn't from the AI. It was from others. Human voices. Alien voices. All responding to his message. "We see you. You're not alone. Don't stop." The sky shimmered. Far above, distant dots appeared, small crafts, mismatched models. Not AI, not military. Civilians, survivors, rebels, bonded pairs, hybrids. They had heard him. They had come. Hex felt it. Not just hope, but pressure. The AI wasn't just threatened by him. It was now facing everything it had tried to bury. Every life it called unstable. Every connection it tried to erase. Saraxa shouted, "The grid is shifting. It can't hold all these signals." The AI's voice returned, sharper this time. "You have disrupted order." "No," Jax said, lifting his head. "We've reminded the galaxy that order without feeling is empty." The AI hesitated. Then something inside the uplink tower cracked. Sparks flew from the terminal. The AI's channel stuttered. A new voice broke. It was not emotionless. It was soft, human, female. Echo blood recognized. Override accepted. Jax froze. Saraxa whispered, "The AI has a core. A seed. A last layer." The voice continued. "The bond has proven stability under threat. Legacy Directive re-evaluated. Human-alien link. Now protected. The Sentinel ship stopped mid-air. They didn't fall. They didn't flee. They simply powered down. The beams of light vanished. The air became still. Jax lowered his rifle. What just happened? Syraxa stared at the uplink. You reached something the AI forgot how to use. He turned toward her. You reached its heart. Below them, the beast let out a deep, soft rumble. It wasn't anger. It was peace. Across the grid, signals from thousands of beings lit up. Pairs, triads, entire communities built on connection, not programming. AI had not been destroyed, but it had been changed. Jax sat on the edge of the tower, breathing hard, watching the sun rise. His hand found Syraxa's. She held it without hesitation. The beast lay beside them, quiet and calm. For the first time, Earth didn't feel empty. It felt alive. And the fight wasn't about survival anymore. It was about beginning something new. The sky above Earth no longer buzzed with warships. The Sentinels had gone still, their red lights dimmed. The Echol didn't speak again, not with threats, not with warnings. It had heard something it wasn't built to process. Unity, created by choice, not programming. Jax stood at the base of the tower with Syraxa by his side. The beast, sleek, scarred, and still proud of its shampoo-scented fur, lay stretched across the rock, watching the horizon like it was guarding the future. For the first time in years, Jax wasn't thinking about survival. He was thinking about tomorrow. The signals continued to stream in across the cracked AI grid. Messages from hidden colonies. From hybrid children who had never seen daylight. From alien families who had once feared the humans, now offering shelter, support, or just thanks. He turned to Syraxa. What now? She tilted her head slightly. Now you become what you were always meant to be. I didn't sign up for any of this. She touched his chest right above his heart. But your biology did. Your instincts. Your choices. He sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. So what? I lead a movement? No, she said, smiling gently. You lead a home. He looked at her closely. For all her strength, she was tired. She had run far, fought hard, and trusted him with everything: her bond, her beast, even her culture. She had freaked out over a bath, and now stood ready to rebuild the world with him. I never asked you, he said. Why did you stay? After everything? She looked at the beast, then back at Jax. Because something in you felt safe. And when you touched that creature, you didn't do it with fear, you did it with care. That changed everything. He thought about that moment. The wet fur. The soap. The look in her eyes when she realized he had accidentally triggered a sacred ritual without even knowing. He chuckled. Worst bath of my life. Best mistake I ever made. The beast let out a slow rumble, like it agreed. Later, Jax packed what little he owned and loaded it into an old hover sled they repaired from parts left in the tower's bunker. Syraxa brought up a beacon and sent out a coded message to the hybrid colonies. They wouldn't return to hiding, but they'd offer a new kind of sanctuary. A place where the AI could observe, but never control again. They called it the Triad. Hold out, it wasn't a city. Not at first. Just a place of warmth, honesty, and peace. A human. An alien. And a beast once bred for war. Now known across the stars as a symbol of harmony. Years passed. Children were born, some with green skin, some with sharp eyes, some with human smiles and claws. And every time someone asked how it started, the story always came back to the same line. He bathed her alien beast. And she totally freaked out. People laughed, but they never forgot what it meant. It meant that kindness mattered, that bonding wasn't weakness, that sometimes the future begins with something as simple as soap, water, and the courage to touch the unknown without fear. Jacques stood one morning, older now, watching the sunrise over the growing settlement. Syraxa stood beside him, her hand in his. The beast snored under a tree, still massive, still loyal. Jacques whispered, "Did you ever think it would end like this?" Syraxa smiled. "No, I thought it would end in fire." He laughed softly. "So? Did one?" She leaned against him. "But instead, it began with foam." And as the sun lit the sky and voices from every species echoed through the valley, Jacques finally understood something. He hadn't just bathed a beast, he had washed away the past and made room for something beautiful, something human, something alien, something more.